You're an architect. You must be really good at drawing, right? All you do is draw. How tough can it be? Why would I need to hire an architect for this project? Believe me, I hear these questions more often than not. Hi, I'm Vallabh Viswanathan, an architectural designer by profession. I used to practice in India from 2014 to 2018, and now I practice in the United States from 2020. Now, going back to the questions stated before, let's try to find some answers to them. Firstly, it's not only about the drawing, it is about each line that bears a significant weight of our ideas, methods, and design principles. Actually, we do not start the design by drawing a line, but we get there in due process. Today, I'm here to share where, how, and why do we draw these lines, and to share a couple of approaches an architect might take into consideration to bring about a change through their design. Let us compare two examples. This is the Kailasa temple in Maharashtra. Historians believe it was commissioned by the Rashtrakuta king Krishna. And this is the Sanctuary of Truth in Pattaya, Thailand. It has been commissioned by a Thai businessman, Lake Vidyafan. So, can anyone say one name that you would associate as the architect of these magnificent structures? One has been completed over 2200 years ago, while the other is scheduled to complete in 2050. It is my personal belief that crediting one individual with the magnificence of these structures would be unfair. Traditionally, in Indian culture, architecture has not been a profession where one individual is the visionary, the designer, and the builder. It has always been about multiple disciplines coming together, bringing their expertise to the table to bring about a change in the society and bring about a creation of a wonder. Let me also be clear, it has not always been about creating a wonder. Our traditional design methods and principles would be adhered with equal regards for a design of a small house as they would for a large temple complex. Vastu literally means or translates to a house, a place where you live in. Architecture is the art of shaping Vastu and hence its name Vastu Shilpakala. So, how is an architect's role perceived in society today? Let me share my experience in this matter. I remember as a kid, I was fascinated by how things worked, be it the radio, my toy car, my mom's cooking, or just how the life in the city of Mumbai was so well coordinated. Aeroplanes fascinated me. The thrill of going faster than the life or the pace of life in city of Mumbai was a dream. Honestly, I never dreamt of being an architect, but circumstances did not work in my favor. Later, I reflected on the words of architect P.V. Doshi, one of the most respected architects of India, as he said, "Give life a chance." And so unknowingly, I gave architecture a chance, and now it's become my life. So, while this is a relatively new field to me and an experience, I soon realized that my vacations are spoiled for life. Where people see beauty and relaxation during vacations, I see space planning perspectives and details. I got a little sidetracked there. Let's get back to the topic. All our historically significant structures like temple complexes, public buildings, and even houses have all been based on a scientific understanding of the location, natural elements, skilled labor, available materials, and the tools to shape them. And people who brought all this together have hardly been one individual. It has always been a collective effort. This is a storm that we face today. An architect is expected to play this role, or I should say, should be playing this role. How can one individual or a person be a master of all aspects of a building? Is it about making each building unique? Or is it about respecting and being honest with the context and the landscape? How can we justify each line we draw on paper. On the contrary, it is an unfortunate truth that people believe all we do as architect is draw a line, while the contractor overlooks everything, the engineer puts numbers to our design, the masons build everything, while the craftsmen shape everything. All we do is draw, and so on, the cycle continues. If all we did was draw, this would be us at work. I've had inquiries where someone approaches me and says, "We have a plot of land in an X location. Can you share a layout over the weekend?" As much as I would like to impart some knowledge in what it means to share a layout and the questions that require answers even before we draw a line, unfortunately, there is no room or time to even get the conversation going. It is frustrating, and yet we do our best under the circumstances. Believe me, this is not enough. Anything of essence takes time, but time is also of essence. As architect B.V. Doshi has said, excellence needs patience. And patience not only on our part as architects. Remember, design is a collective effort. Everyone involved in the project has a lot to contribute. So, what are these factors we consider, and what are the questions we architects require answers to before we draw a line? We architects draw a line after having made sincere considerations and feel we are ready to express our interpretation of ideas or the collection of it. Ideas that have been coined thanks to multiple permutations and combinations of tangible and intangible factors. Tangible factors are those which we can quantify. Intangible factors are those which we can feel or experience. Here are some examples of tangible factors: location, site features, landscape, weather, etc. And here are some examples of intangible factors: people, comfort, warmth of the place, feelings, to name a few. All these considerations and many more have hidden answers to an architect's storm. We are always interacting with our surroundings. Our mind and senses constantly gather information. Most of this information is deemed unnecessary and we tend to discard it. I believe to truly design a masterpiece, we should retain as much information as we can as architects. We should absorb it, ponder over it, consider possibilities, and then enact our ideas in the form of a drawing. Each one of us architects would have a different approach to design. Let us dive into one example. There was a competition to design a forest abode. The design brief asked for an experience to living amidst forest. So one architect approached the design where he proposed a glass box. His idea or ideology here was that one should be connected virtually with the surroundings at all times. So he designed the floors, the walls, and the ceilings with glass, as his intention was to maximize the view. As it was a glass box, he had to add air conditioning for the hot summer days, moisture control for rainy days, and as it was glass, he had to reinforce it with some steel. On the other hand, another architect went through a similar process and got to a point where he asked himself, what does it really mean to truly experience something? He came up with a proposal of a wooden shed made out of materials sourced locally or in the surrounding of his site. His ideology was that to truly immerse ourselves into an experience, we must experience it with all our senses and eventually return what we have borrowed to nature. Both are exceptional design ideologies, one making use of technology while the other making use of our senses. So my question to you today is, who was the better architect here? Like any other profession, even architecture, if practiced diligently and truthfully, a simple line drawn can become someone's wonder. Everyone deserves tranquility at the end of the day. so anyone can approach an architect and together work towards achieving it. We do not serve only the rich and wealthy. Our desire is to bring about a positive change in the lives of everyone who interacts with our designs. We build a house while you make it a home. I consider architecture a noble profession where we help the occupants flourish and, in return, impact the lives of those who interact with them. And yes, we do more than just draw a line. We are adapting our skill sets to do our best during these uncertainties caused by the pandemic. As Norman Foster has rightly said, as an architect, you design for the present with an awareness of the past and for a future which is essentially unknown. It is time to draw a line away from mediocrity. I know that our built environment has a direct impact on how we deal with our present as we strive hard to secure a future for the upcoming generations. Give the place that you live in an opportunity to reflect your dreams and spirit. No matter how small the project, there is a design meant just for you. Thank you. Please stay safe. Namaste.